Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're looking at something very useful for anyone learning English. Phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are verbs that go together with one or two particles. They have very different meanings and these meanings depend on the particle that we use. For example, look for means to search, whereas look after means to take care of someone or something. As you can see, the meaning of these phrasal verbs is very different, although they both use the verb look. So think of phrasal verbs as entirely new words. Now, let's look at some phrasal verbs that you can use in everyday conversations. Give up. To give up means to stop trying to do something. For example, if I say, I've been trying to solve this math problem for hours, I give up. That means that the math problem is so difficult, I'm going to stop trying to solve it. To give up also means to stop doing something completely. For example, if I say, my dad gave up smoking 2 years ago, that means that 2 years ago my dad stopped smoking and he doesn't do it anymore. Remember that phrasal verbs act as any other verb, so you can conjugate them in every tense. Simple past, present continuous, future, whatever you need. You just need to conjugate the verb as you normally do. For example, the past of give up is gave up. Look after. To look after means to take care of or to be in charge of someone or something. For example, if I ask someone, hey, can you look after my dog while I'm on vacation? That means I'm asking them to feed my dog, walk him, and make sure he's okay while I'm not home. Another example could be, I'm looking after my sister while my parents are at work, which means that while my parents are working, I have to take care of my sister. Run into someone. To run into someone means to unexpectedly meet someone you know. Let's say I was at the supermarket last weekend and suddenly I saw my neighbor. We said hi, we chatted for a while, and then we went our way. So I can say I ran into my neighbor last weekend at the supermarket. Now, if you've been paying attention, you may have noticed that the phrasal verbs I just taught you are inseparable. That means that the verb and the particle always stay together. However, there are some phrasal verbs that can be separated by putting an object or pronoun in between. Let me show you how this is done. Take off. To take off means to remove something, especially clothes. For example, I took off my jacket because it was very hot. In this last sentence, I didn't separate the verb and the particle, but it is also possible to say, I took my jacket off because it was very hot. You can choose either to put the object in between the phrasal verb or not. But if I substitute my jacket with an object pronoun, I have to put the pronoun in the middle. I took it off because it was very hot. It's not correct to say, I took off it. Pick up. Another example of a phrasal verb you can split is pick up. To pick up has many different meanings, but some of the most common ones are to lift something using your hands or to go and get someone or something. For example, please pick up that box and take it to the kitchen. Or, I have to pick up the children from school after 3. In these last examples, I'm using the object after the phrasal verb. Now, let's try separating the phrasal verb and putting the object in between. Our sentences now are, please pick that box up and take it to the kitchen. And I have to pick the children up from school at 3. Why don't you try changing those objects now to pronouns? Write down your final sentences and put them in the comments below. Now you may be wondering, how do I know if a phrasal verb is separable or inseparable? Unfortunately, there are no rules for this. The only way to learn how to use phrasal verbs is practicing. But don't worry, we've got your back and we'll share with you some tips that will help you learn them. Keep a notebook or a section of a notebook that is just for phrasal verbs. Every time you see or hear a new phrasal verb, write it down there. This will make it easier for you to remember them. Always use a dictionary. While the meaning of some phrasal verbs can be easy to understand just by the context, some are more complicated and some others have many different meanings, so be sure to double check. Be curious. There are tons of exercises and explanations you can find on the internet. There are even whole books dedicated to the subject of phrasal verbs. So there you have it, some phrasal verbs that will definitely help you sound more natural in English. And remember, practice makes perfect. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit that bell button so you can get notified about our latest content. See you next time.